Hello, my name is Diana Karamakoska, and for this video we are looking at conflict. In this video we are assessing conflict and looking at the stages of conflict, how it arises and how we resolve it. Looking at conflict in the client-practitioner relationship, so where we might have a breakdown, and also how to manage this conflict. Conflict is a felt struggle between two or more interdependent individuals over perceived incompatible differences in beliefs, values, and goals, or over differences in the desires for control, status, and affection. Tension arises from incompatible needs in which the actions of one frustrate the ability of the other to achieve a goal. It prevents further successful progress occurring towards the main goal of the team. The causes of conflict vary. It can stem from a misunderstanding between two individuals or more. It's also reflected in poor communication styles and methods. So where one may not have clearly explained a situation to another, or has not included all of the relevant information needed to assess a situation. It can also stem from differences in values and goals that are perceived by the individuals in the team or in the relationship. It can also stem from personality clashes between people and also the stress that we take on in our home life and work life. Conflict is also affected by various different things. It can come from previous experience in dealing with a similar matter, previous relationships with these individuals, a physical state, so where we might be a little unwell or overly stressed and react to a situation in a poor way, and also the psychological state, so where we are feeling stressed and emotionally overwhelmed, we may take it out on other people by mistake. Situational factors can also contribute to conflict, in which we are being persuaded by different individuals to take a particular direction and is known as a pulling effect. Personal circumstances may also contribute to conflict, as we may put our own goals ahead of the client's or the team goals. Personality is also another big factor that contributes to conflict, as it relates to how we can handle a situation or the reactions of other people, as well as the importance of the issue. So whether it is something that is very close to your heart, or on the other end, if it is something that you do not care at all about. This can also be present within the individuals that you are working with, as another team member may show a complete lack of interest in the case or may be overly invested in it. And finally, conflict can also be fueled with the possible consequences for the conflict and its outcome. We tend to think of the negative outcomes and worst scenarios that can occur, especially in times of conflict. So it's important to remain calm as much as possible and approach matters in an assertive way. Now, when we look at conflict in a client-professional relationship, we can see that it does impact on the therapeutic relationship itself. This can occur when an individual is being asked to give more information than what they feel is comfortable. Now, that can come from either the patient or yourself as the health professional. It can also be affected by having your feelings ridiculed. And this again relates to emotional validation. We don't want our clients to feel judged, and in some situations, our clients will judge us, but we must remember to be understanding of their situation and remain calm throughout a session. Conflict can also arise through an encounter of sexual harassment, and where this occurs, it must be dealt with through appropriate authorities and human resource managements from the organisation. Sometimes the client can feel as if they are a target of a personal attack from the information that you are giving them, or it could come off the other way where the client is attacking you in a personal way. Again, you need to keep in mind that you have to remain professional and be understanding of the client. Other times, issues can arise when one person wants to do things the old way instead of being innovative and trying something new. Where this occurs, you should try and explore different methods and assess the risks as well as the benefits involved for each technique so that the client and the health professional are knowledgeable in this area and can make an informed decision about how to proceed. Another issue that can come about is when you are being asked to take on too little or too much responsibility. As a health professional, if you feel as though your client is being affected by other issues, it may be worthwhile to look at the options to refer them on to another health professional to seek out the appropriate services for them. Alternatively, your patient could also feel as they are being asked for too much if you are pushing them to take on additional services that may not actually be required. And lastly, conflict does arise from a simple difference in opinion. And this is where education plays a part in understanding what that opinion is and why it has come about. We want to be able to debunk any myths or concerns a client or patient is having by showing them factual data and information that will hopefully get them to see things in a different way. As an example, we will go through this client's case. A young man has waited 1.5 hours for his outpatient appointment. He was originally referred to the hospital 8 months ago. He has recently started a new job which requires heavy manual labour. Before this, he was unemployed for 18 months. His boss has allowed him time off for the appointment, but is docking his pay for the time he is not at work. When he finally sees the doctor, he explodes in rage when he is told that his back problem means he will have to spend 6 months in plaster and avoid any heavy lifting. This ultimately means the client will no longer be able to work and may lose his job as a result. So we can understand the explosion of rage. This ultimately means the client will no longer be able to work and may lose his job as a result. So how would you react in this situation if you were the health professional? In these instances, we need to remain as calm as possible and why it is that we reached the decision that we made. A weighing up of the costs and benefits to the outcomes would enable the patient to understand your perspective as the health professional. Try to explain your points as clearly as possible to the client. And keep in mind the techniques that we've been discussing and trying to paraphrase and validate their feelings so that they feel understood. There are a few benefits to having conflict. It can prevent stagnation in achieving a goal. It also stimulates interest and curiosity for those who are involved, so as to seek out different information that would support either side to the arguments. It helps foster creativity in conflict resolution. We can try out different ideas and methods that people suggest in these situations. It also encourages personal and intellectual growth to enable you to better effectively work with those around you. And it also helps create and renew our social, religious, and from a broader perspective, it helps to create and renew our social, religious, political and business organisations.